Welcome back. The Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office search and rescue team recently shared a heartbreaking story of a dog passing away in Mill Creek Canyon after their owner took them out hiking without any water. So we have Haley Krepfel, an education manager with the Humane Society of Utah, joining us in studio to talk more on what we can do to keep our animals cool this summer. Haley, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
We've been talking about the heat and just how oppressive it is. I mean, at this point, should we even be taking our dogs outside for long walks? What's the guidance?
Probably not. I mean, some of the tips to keep them safe in this kind of heat is to pick morning hours or later hours when it's just not that really oppressive heat during that day. If we are going to do a hike, maybe choosing something more high in the mountains where it's shaded, where they have opportunities to get some fresh, clean water on their own. Of course, preparing ourselves by bringing them extra water as well. So there are some ways to stay safe and to get them exercise still when it is this hot outside.
I'm glad you brought up water because I always wonder how much water I should be bringing for my pet. I think we have really good guidance for humans depending on how long you're going to be out there. What guidance do you have for pet owners if they're taking their dog for a walk in the mountains?
Yeah, so it's always good to over-prepare, but generally the guidance is about 2.5 liters for even just an hour-long walk, and that's for one dog, yes.
Does it matter the size of the dog at all, or is it
That's still just general, yeah,
Okay.
general overarching rule, but of course, the bigger the dog, the more they are going to drink.
We've heard about people also getting burned maybe on a slide or, a metal surface, and I always worry about my dog's paws when we're walking on a driveway or something. What is some good guidance for people on if their dogs need shoes or, what we should be doing to keep them safe?
Yeah, so the general guidance is if you put your palm down to the ground and it's too hot for you to even keep your palm on the ground for a few seconds, it's definitely too hot for them to just be walking around. And unfortunately, although boots sound like a great solution, the way that dogs release their heat instead of sweating like we do is through their paw pads. So if we put a boot on it, that can actually make them even more hot because they have a harder time releasing the body heat.
Wow.
So that just kind of circles back to what you said earlier of maybe they shouldn't really be out in the middle heat of the day.
Well, let's talk a little bit about signs and symptoms because unfortunately we'd love to know what's going on in our pet's mind, but we can't. So what should we be watching for to make sure that they are okay?
Yeah, so some signs of heat stroke are heavy panting, quick breathing, excessive drooling, getting a glassy look in the eyes, or if you look inside the mouth, they might have a bright red or even purple tongue or gums.
Oh, wow.
Their gums might be dry to the touch, which is of course very abnormal. Their skin could be hot to the touch, and then of course if they are lethargic or non-responsive, they need to see a vet immediately. Really with any signs and symptoms of heat stroke, they should get immediate vet assistance.
And when you say immediate, I think some people wonder, does that mean that I should drive there right now? Should I call them? Should I make an appointment tomorrow? How soon should that animal see a vet?
Yeah, so as soon as you notice the symptoms, drive immediately to a vet, hopefully an emergency vet, so you don't have to wait for an appointment because a dog can actually pass away within an hour of those first symptoms. So it's incredibly important. It's also good to know that if it's maybe a drive to the vet because you are on the mountains, it's going to take some time. You don't want to immediately submerge them in really cold water. You have to get that body temperature down slowly. So doing something that extreme is actually going to hurt them more than help them.
So how do you slowly bring their temperature down?
Yeah, so you can do it by putting a fan on them. So if you're putting them in the car, just making sure the AC is on and blowing on them. Or if you even have a sponge or let's say a spray bottle, just kind of lightly spritzing them with cool water, but not cold water.
Okay, some really helpful information. Haley, thank you so much for joining us.